Hello everyone, welcome back to 5x5 Basketball, top 5 news, standings, players, games, and plays. Let's get into the news. Mr. Wardell Stephen Curry passed Reggie Miller for second all-time in 3 points made, and he did it in classic Steph style.
Out to Curry, guarded by Conley. Rudy steps out to help. Gets it back in the corner. That quick release is unmatched, and now he's number 2.
Just for fun, Warriors reporter and Steph's biographer Marcus Thompson called Steph his real first name, and this was his reaction.
Wardell, why is Kelly so good at...
The League and Players Association are in talks about reinstating the All-Star game this year. 22 games have gotten the COVID kibosh. The Blazers are going to be depleted for at least a month, with Yusuf Nurkic and CJ McCollum out with wrist and foot injuries respectively. Lord Robert Covington also just got concussed. Tough breaks for Portland. Hawks 2-guard Bogdan Bogdanovic is out indefinitely with a knee fracture, though the damage report came back with nothing too serious. Bonus round, the Lakers are feeling themselves, and when Alex Caruso's teammate gets left hanging, it looks like this.
Sometimes it just takes a little subtle favor. That's all it takes. You get the advantage, and you just get into the lane and market it.
Checking out our standings in the West, the playoff teams are starting to separate themselves. The Lakers have the highest point differential in the league at 9.8. The Clippers have won 7 straight, which is only topped by the Jazz, who have won 8 straight. COVID has made things a little strange, with the Grizzlies over 500, but having played only 13 games compared to the Lakers' 18. The only real disappointments in the West have been the Mavericks and the Pelicans, but both teams have young cores and plenty of time to bounce back. In the East, there are no significant win streaks to speak of. The Bucks have the second highest point differential and should rise in the standings as the season goes on, but for now, Philadelphia is at the top. The Cavs and Knicks continue to surprise in the middle of the conference, and the Raptors are straightening things out a bit, going 6-4 in their last 10. The reigning conference champion Heat are the only real disappointment, sitting near the bottom of the standings, but they've been dealing with injuries to Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero, and should straighten things out and get back to bubble form. Heading over to our players of the week, Clint Capella recorded a triple-double with blocks against the Timberwolves, and it's worth taking a look at some of them and how he's fitting in on the Hawks. In theory, this is a very well-balanced team, and with Capella in the front court, John Collins is free to step outside more often, where he's quite effective as a modern four. Capella can sit on the interior on offense and defense, anchoring the team and getting easy inside looks, while also pushing to lead the league in rebounds. He had 26 the other night against the Pistons in overtime. It should be noted that Capella is mostly stuffing rookies and sophomores in these clips, as the Timberwolves have a very young core, but the Hawks defense is middling right now, which is a huge improvement from dead last in the league last year, and Capella is certainly a big reason why. Capella is near the top of the league in PER at 21st overall, but very intriguingly, Chris Boucher of the Raptors is ahead of him at 15th overall with a PER over 25. He's only playing about 24 minutes per game, so he's not a complete breakout all-star type player, but he is doing some really interesting things with his increased minutes, doubling most of his per game averages. As noted in the standings, the Raptors are riding the ship, but still need impact players to step up, and Boucher seems to be doing that for them. The fourth-year wing played 1 minute for the 2017 Warriors, and so along with his Raptors ring, technically has 2 championships already. He's averaging 14-6 this year, shooting over 45% from 3 with a weird but relatively fluid form. His length is really intriguing as he's rail thin but mostly plays like a center, getting buckets off of rebounds and putbacks. Combine that with the shooting and defensive versatility, and he's a pretty unique player in the league. These last 2 blocks are just terrifying stuff. Domantas Sabonis was getting a little bit of MVP buzz early in the season, and while that's not likely, the Pacers are still 4th in the East, and he is arguably their best player along with Malcolm Brogdon. The Pacers have been in that pretty good limbo state for about 5 years now, losing in the first round of the playoffs, and they are clearly capped with the talent level of this roster as well, especially with the ongoing development of Karis LeVert having a growth on his kidney. Sabonis is 24 and averaging similar numbers to last year, with the exception of doubling his 3-point output and hitting 35% of them. He still plays like a traditional face-up power forward, but the increased range bodes really well for his future. He seems a bit like a more springy Kevin Love, and though his defensive upside is similarly limited, he is also potentially a similarly really nice complementary piece going forward. The Knicks, as mentioned, are surprisingly tough in the East, and a large part of that has been Julius Randle's improvement. He's definitely a good stats, bad team guy right now, but he's almost doubled his assists at over 6 a game, even better than Sabonis at the power forward position. They're running through him in the post, and he's also comfortable running the ball up the court himself with surprising quickness. His three-point shooting has become respectable as well at 35% on almost an attempt every quarter. Watch him in these clips use his old school bully ball to go straight at Rudy Gobert, who has absurd length but no answer for Randle's power. The Knicks will come back down to earth soon, but Randle leading the team in points, boards, and dimes is all-star type stuff. I said last week we'd take a look at how Kyrie is doing with his new Big Three buddies, and oh boy are we gonna.
Oh boy.
The Nets have lost twice to the Cavs and won twice against a depleted Heat team. Kyrie guarded Sexton in their wild Cavs games that we'll take a look at more later, and we can see here that without any legit guard defenders or rim protectors to cover for him, defense is going to be a big problem for the Nets. This shot here is just a heat check from Sexton, but the fact that Kyrie doesn't have the length to bother him is a bad sign, and the defense in semi-transition here is just painfully hard to watch. Credit Kyrie for this block here, but the Nets' Big Three coming together in hopes of an easier path unfortunately set themselves up to get scored on in bunches. They've got plenty of time to improve, but their defensive potential is big time capped unless they can find a buyout replacement or free agent with something to offer. Heading over to our games of the week on Monday the 18th before Kyrie came back from his vision quest, Harden and KD squared off against the Bucks in a thriller. Harden and Giannis had 34 points apiece, with KD and Middleton as sidekicks, dropping 30 and 25 respectively. You know what? I'm keeping that mistake in. Encouraging for the Nets, who had essentially 6 guys on the roster with NBA-level talent, to come out with the win against the favorites in the East.
4th team foul on Milwaukee. Regulation. Hart open for 3. Rebounded by Hart. Finds Durant. Durant goes to the crossover in this 4th quarter. Hardaway looking to inbound. He goes to Middleton. He's 3-point territory.
Also on the 18th, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, the Warriors went to Staples Center and took down the Lakers. The defending champs led the entire game up to the last 3 minutes of the 4th quarter, but Steph Curry hit yet another shot that's going on his all-time highlights to seal the lead with a minute left. Steph has scored more points than anyone else this season, and this game was definitely a statement game for the Warriors that just because Klay is out this season does not mean they're done competing in the West.
Lost the handle coach since Phil Jackson won back-to-back titles with the Lakers. The 7th coach in LA is LeBron. Evan Martin had a ton of free throws. The first field, long-range 3 from Curry. Oh, he's got it. Stephen Curry. Clock is off. LeBron James finds Schroeder. Looking for Davis. Damian Lee fronts him. A scramble now. Caruso and the clock. It's a timeout up and in. LeBron James. This is for the win. No good.
Quick check-in here on the Pacers Magic game from the 22nd. Starting off here in the 4th quarter, the Pacers couldn't get a solid shot off to close regulation, but Malcolm Brogdon made up for it big time with a clutch play in overtime to give the Pacers the win.
Sabonis the catch. Sabonis could not.
He didn't get it all. They won't get it all. Oh, he did. Let's be patient.
Sabonis. McDermott.
Let it go.
Brogdon for 3. Got it! Malcolm Brogdon!
Good switch. Oh, no.
Gets it away. Missed it, and the Pacers hold on.
Denver and Phoenix actually had back-to-back crazy games. Quickly, here's the end of the first matchup, with Phoenix having the opportunity to tie the game and coming up short. In their second matchup, they again went to overtime, adding a second in just for kicks. Clutch plays all around here, with the Nuggets ultimately closing up the second overtime fairly comfortably. The Joker had 29 points and 22 boards in 42 minutes, and the Suns spread the wealth without Devin Booker in the lineup. Notably, Chris Paul led the team in plus-minus at plus 13, but the bench performed really terribly anytime he took a break.
Minsky bobbled it, finds Crowder, gets it loose, catches in. So it's needing another stop here. Down by 5, second overtime. Murray with that jump stop, got it.
And finally, the reason this video is so long, we're going to spend over 2 minutes in our game of the week in Cleveland because the young Cavaliers introduced the Nets' new big three to the league in absolute classic style. Harden, Kyrie, and Durant were fascinating to watch together, trying to find some form of chemistry on short notice. They scored 96 points together as a trio, which they'll need to do every night, but their coming out party was absolutely decimated by the young bull, Colin Sexton. Notably, the other half of Sexland was finishing up an injury stint with a shoulder sprain, so that means that all that was left was pure sex.
Oh yeah!
Sexton scored a career-high 42 points, going completely unconscious in both overtimes, scoring 20 points straight to lift the Cavaliers. Poetically, Sexton was drafted by the Cavaliers using the pick they got from Boston when they traded Kyrie to the Celtics. Also poetically, in this blockbuster Harden trade, the Nets gave up the depth that they so desperately needed in Jaren Allen and Taurean Prince, who had several clutch moments, scoring 29 points combined off the bench in what had to feel like sweet, sweet revenge for getting dumped for Harden. The Cavs went on to take down the Nets again 2 nights later and officially made GM of the Nets Sean Marks lose some sleep over his decision to sell the soul of the franchise for a big three that looks very vulnerable so far.
About it. He continues to bark at official Aaron Smith. Harden makes both free throws. One now with 18 seconds to go. Here's Osman. Wow, long distance shot. Missed it. Sexton grabs it and puts it in. Cavs need a three. Sexton works on Irving, trying to get loose. He'll fire. He knocks it down. Colin Sexton, with 1 second remaining in overtime, has tied this game at 127.
Help by Nance.
Got turned back the first time. Irving trying to get loose. Difficult shot. Missed it. Bounded by Allen. Sexton now. Sexton for three. Sexton has 31. Nance with a deflection. The NBA leader in deflections gets another one to go. Gives the ball to Sexton. Long distance three. He's got another. 129.
Yep. You have the advantage. You're going downhill now.
Sexton works on Irving. Fires. He's got it. Colin Sexton has the Cavs last 14 points. And now he's guarded by the lengthy Durant. 5 to shoot. Colin will. He's got another. Oh, mercy. Oh, my. Colin Sexton has the Cavs last 17 points. Looking for 20. Oh, my.
Well, I don't think you can stop him. He's too hot now.
For Colin Sexton. Pressured by Harris. Goes to work again. This time it's Prince for three. Got it! The Brooklyn Nets tonight see Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden together on the floor for the first time. And the Cavaliers are going to beat them by 12 in double overtime.
Last up, our top 5 plays of the week. This is a subtle play, but exactly the kind of stuff that makes Zion Williamson so special. He reads and reacts to Jared Vanderbilt going up for the putback, and in a flash, pins it off the backboard, then flies out of bounds for the save. What a ridiculous athlete. At number 4, we showed you all kinds of Sexton magic in the game of the week, but watch him get it done on defense against KD here. Check out his footsteps, setting up the Durant denial like a long jumper. Can't knock the hustle. At number 3, Jamal Murray on the drive. Watch Nikola Jokic channel Larry Legend here with a little touch pass laid down to Paul Millsap. Again, we're looking for subtlety here at 5x5, and nothing's more subtle than a 7-footer slapping a ball at your face for a layup. Number 2, not your typical 5x5 highlight, but we missed it in our games of the week because there were so many. Watch the rookie Cole Anthony living out his childhood dreams. Down 2, no timeouts, 3 for the win, dagger, insert some kind of magic pun here. At number 1, we call these videos the weekly wrap. That's short for wraparound, and it doesn't get much better than the Spider-Man Donnie Mitchell whipping the ball around in midair here to the shooter Bojan for 3. The torque on that baby could kill a possum. Shout out to Shaq this week for telling Mitchell he doesn't have it to his face. He's coming for MVP votes now, and the Jazz are rolling. Hey Donovan, how do you feel about getting out of here?
All right. That's it.